to close that one. Lopez racing solo to glory, racing down the hill to Davos clusters. He's got about 13 kilometers of descending and then just over 4 kilometers of flat road through to the finish. And they hit a railway crossing with 4.4 kilometers to go, so let's hope the express train to Zurich isn't making its appearance at that stage as we lose the picture, albeit briefly. The group behind now, are they going to be able to close just over half a minute gap to Miguel Ángel López?
Well, it depends if Lopez wants to take any risks, because it is a very tricky descent, especially the top third on this site now. So, but there seems to be a bit more of a general regroupment now. Talansky doesn't seem to be liking this descent. Rui Costa wants to obviously come across to this front group. Potentially he is a fast enough sprinter that if it does come back together, there's a stage winner for grabs. But Lopez just has to be very aware. He can't take any risks in this on these corners, because if he slides out, he'll be caught by the chasing group.
So he's able to pick his own line around the corners. I suppose in another way, nobody's marking the road for him, picking out the lines for him. So he's got to be careful. He's also got to be committed. It's a confusing combination for Miguel Ángel López. He's racing to glory, and he's got a lot. He's got a lot to be hopeful for. He's got a lot to race for, hasn't he? 45 seconds back, so 15 seconds now between the Izagirre group and the group of Andrew Talansky. Izagirre with an opportunity to move up into second place overall. There were 8 seconds between himself and Izagirre. 8 seconds down, Andrew Talansky starting the day from Miguel Ángel López. Izagirre 16 seconds back. Warren Bargui has just about managed to latch onto the back of the Talansky group. He's 18 seconds back. And then Pantano at 52. Kelderman is gone from this group. 1 minute and 21 seconds down. And there's the confirmation of the final mountains points of the year, with Miguel Ángel López taking the top points, as befits the man who is in the yellow jersey and has been climbing with such great ease over the last couple of days, particularly this afternoon in the rain, racing down to Davos. There's your yellow jersey. There's one on underneath that rain jacket. I can tell you it is dry and it is sunny at the finish line in Davos, so at some stage they are going to emerge out of the mist. And how much of this descent is going to be on dry roads? Doesn't look like much of it. Delapart not enjoying the descent too much.
No, there'll be a lot of riders not enjoying the descent, but the riders in front are racing for podium places. It's going to be touch and go whether they actually bring back Lopez. Still some tricky corners to come, but Lopez seems to be kind of holding them at bay. They've only knocked off about 3 or 4 seconds from the top of the climb.
Yeah, so just inside a half a minute advantage now for Miguel Ángel López and the group of Ion Izagirre, 3 riders. Jarlison Pantano is in there as well. So too is TJ Van Garderen. And Chernetsky for Team Katusha, with Victor Delapart finding himself just a couple of seconds from the back. The CCC Sprande Polkovice man who won the Tour of Austria in 2015. Not able to take an apex there, and losing another second or two with every hairpin that's presented to him. Still though, he's managing to hold off the riders behind. Big opportunity here for Izagirre to move up.
Also Pantano can move up for Ion, and what a wonderful result that would be for the local team. So Pantano has got a possibility of moving up here, but he really needs to, these gaps to open a little bit wider now.
TJ Van Garderen as well started the day 7th overall, so an opportunity to move up to 6th. Wilco Kelderman distanced on the climb, and just 5 seconds between those 2 riders as they started the day. Winner of the Tour de l'Avenir, as we said, back in 2014. Stage win of Vuelta Burgos in 2015. It's 7th overall in the Tour de Suisse last year, which was the first big signal in World Tour racing that this man had a top future as a stage racer. And Miguel Ángel López now, well, he's odds-on favourite if he can keep it together on this descent. 23 seconds. They're starting to close it down, so López not taking any huge risks. And the group of Izagirre starting to open up a bit more of an advantage over the 26 seconds, 27 seconds now between themselves and the Talansky group chasing.
Well, TJ is doing a big turn now in this descent. Obviously feeling a bit better than the top of the climb when he was distanced. And TJ thinking of another stage win. He's already got one to his name in this year's Tour de Suisse. Pantano will help as well because he's moving up in the general classification. Ion Izagirre, I think he's looking to keep a hold of or get into second place overall. So all of these will ride. I think looks like Rui Costa is coming up to possibly join them as well.
Rui Costa, 3 times winner, is still in with a shout of a stage victory this year. If he can get back up to that group, and then they in turn can make the junction with the race leaders. Lost a little bit of his advantage as they hit a flatter road. He starts to pedal. He finds now inside 20 seconds to the Izagirre group as Lopez really piles it on and realizes that well, he's in a solo time trial fight to the line. 2 bottles on board. I did say it was a 1-bottle day. But, these riders in the habit of hydrating even on a wet day. So just over 10 kilometers remaining in the Tour de Suisse of 2016, with your overall race leader Miguel Ángel López of Team Astana and Colombia racing to glory. But can he hang on ahead of this group of riders led by TJ Van Garderen? Started the day 7th overall. Just behind him on his wheel, Jarlison Pantano started the day 5th. And Ion Izagirre, who started the day 3rd and is set to move up, as indeed is the 4th member of this group, Czernetsky of Team Katusha, who was 13th at the outset of today's activities. And Rui Costa is trying to get across as well. Behind, where is Andrew Talansky? He had Joe Dombrowski for company when they started this descent. It's Bargui with Rui Costa. That's a fantastic effort from Warren Bargui. Really looked to be suffering on that climb, but what a brave descent.
I'll tell you what, he's bounced back. Delapart has been, distanced in this descent. He rode a great mountain, and he's just not got it when it comes down to this tricky descent. We're just moving back now to see where Talansky, and there's Dombrowski and Talansky. And Talansky's having to ride. He's going to have to ride all the way in the last 10 kilometres now, because he is drifting out the top 3 now.
2-up time trial for the Cannondale men. They've got to get back on terms, or he's going to lose a very strong finish in a World Tour stage race, a national stage race, the longest outside of the Grand Tours, at 9 days of racing in total. As we survey the scene in the group chasing behind, with this is Chislik on the front, Verva Active Jet, and all those riders are riding. And what am I saying? Of course, it's Pantano. It's the 2nd group on the road. Izagirre, everybody riding. And now Talansky with Dombrowski on the front. Talansky at the back with his rain jacket. The man sitting in 2nd place has been supported so well by Joe Dombrowski over the week. Now TJ Van Garderen pushing hard to try and close that gap. The race leader has been dragged back, so now we have a group of 5 up front. Inside 8 kilometers to go.
Yeah, I don't think the bonuses will come into play now. There's enough time between most of these riders, but they're all committed. TJ, Pantano, Ion Izagirre, the race leaders there, Czernetsky, they're all moving up in the general classification, but it's still a stage win. And Pantano would love to win this for IAM, the team that bases itself here in Switzerland. But the race isn't over yet, because I think the GC's pretty much been wrapped up by Lopez here, because the only person I think could have challenged him closely, he looks so strong at the moment, would have been Talansky. But Talansky's losing out today. He started the day in 2nd place at 8 seconds. I can't see him staying on the podium today. But can Warren Bargui and Rui Costa make it up here? And if they do, you would think that Rui Costa would be one of the favourites for a stage win here. But it's going to be flat out racing from all 5 of these riders. Czernetsky is the only rider that's going to sit here, and can he give Katusha the stage win that they've been trying for all week?
Yeah, well, Czernetsky's set to move up. Interesting that Lopez is still minded to ride. He certainly wouldn't be expected to, as the yellow jersey being caught by this group. still wants to charge on to put Andrew Talansky as far behind him as possible.
I think so, because you know, 10, 6 and 4 on the finishing line. If Talansky comes back here, you never know. I know there are other faster riders, but if Talansky was to win the stage and Lopez outside the top 3, then you know, Tour de Suisse would be his. But I can't see that happening now, and it's Lopez's best interest. Ion Izagirre moving up into second place. Pantano obviously moving up. He needs a little bit more time, but I think Warren Barguil and Rui Costa, it would be nice to know what time gap back to the two riders, because Warren Barguil is hanging on by his fingertips to a possible podium place here in Tour de Suisse.
So we're pretty much on the bottom of the hill now as Jarlison Pantano takes the group ahead and racing in towards Davos with Ion Izagirre. He'll cross the railway crossing very shortly. Ion Izagirre goes to the front. Is he moving up into second place overall? TJ Van Garderen in the red of BMC, already a stage win. Can he make it a double? Sergei Chinetsky is sitting at the back in the red of Katusha, and that would be a fabulous achievement, and he's going to roll the dice and see if the group will tow him to glory, and will he be able to produce the sprint at the back end. Chinetsky with a big opportunity on the front in the red of the BMC squad, local sponsored team, man from the United States, looking for a double stage success. Ion Izagirre is looking for a double as well. Superb time trial performance. Can he win a mountain stage, albeit an extremely short one? But this is a World Tour bike race, and these are big points on offer.
Just saying there, they just pulled out the car there, and a couple of riders just looked back. I think you know, Rui Costa and Warren Barguil are getting very, very close, and Warren Barguil is going to tow Rui Costa as much as he can, because he's fighting to keep that or to go on to the podium, while Rui Costa can afford to help him a little bit, but keep a little bit back, just in case Warren Barguil tows him up to this leading group. Potentially Rui Costa could be possibly winning the stage, but they have to get there first, that's the thing, and Rui Costa can't afford to wait behind.
Well, now they're starting to jockey for position a little bit. Jarlison Pantano finds himself with a few bike lengths of an advantage. It's Izagirre that's going to close the gap. Lopez is on the wheel of the Spaniard, and TJ Van Garderen and Sergei Chinetsky find themselves with a little bit of work to do. Chinetsky doesn't want to have to close the gap, but Van Garderen is going to make him, I think. Izagirre goes again and catches Pantano, so the group has split. Will Van Garderen be able to get back on terms? So the first skirmishing beginning with just 3 kilometers remaining in this year's Tour de Suisse. Will Warren Barguil be able to get back on terms? That little flurry of attacks won't have done him any favours. Will they stall now?
Well, that's the thing, they have to keep on riding, because the riders behind will pounce very, very quickly. They are still thinking the stage when it does look as if Ion Izagirre is doing what he wants to do. He wants to keep the pace high. He wants to make sure he gets you know, that second place. Pantano wants to ride as well, because he needs as much time as possible, because Warren Barguil is just sitting behind, and he'll be taking that potential podium place that Pantano thought he might have had a chance of getting on today.
Every time Pantano goes to the front of the group, he opens up a few bike lengths advantage. Izagirre is still riding, and that is a difficulty for Rui Costa, and Warren Barguil behind. Rui Costa certainly is giving him a turn, and has he managed to no, the two of them still together, and Rui Costa on the front. Warren Barguil, and he within 10 seconds now of the leaders, but just 2 and a bit kilometers remaining. Barguil back to the front. They can see them, they can sense them. A couple of cars in between, they'll pull those out as Warren Barguil tries to get back on terms. The road rising just ever so slightly, and TJ Van Garderen on the front.
Well, it's how much have they got left? As you know, Rui Costa plays smart. You know, he is a very good finisher, but Chinetsky's just been sitting on the tail of these 5 riders and waiting to pounce.
It's a canny ride by the Katusha man, who is giving himself the best shot at a famous stage success, and a great addition to his Palmares as TJ Van Garderen just slots in behind. 4 of these 5 riders are contributing, but they find their advantage now down to single figures in terms of seconds, less than 10 seconds now to those 2 riders behind. Barguil gives a big effort to try and get back on terms.
I think this effort now by Ion Izagirre means that I don't think it's now possible that Rui Costa and Barguil are going to make it now. Even if they do make it now, they're going to be very tired. So Ion Izagirre is just setting a hard enough tempo, setting someone else up for for a stage win here, because all he's interested in is making sure he gets second overall.
And where is Andrew Talansky? Further back and perhaps being distanced and losing out on a podium finish in a World Tour stage race, a national stage race. The Tour de Suisse, a little bit of a benefit from the wind, and they'll go down to a couple of hairpins inside the final kilometre, and that will mean that they'll be heading into a bit of a headwind, and the backstage will get full notion of that very shortly as Izagirre leads them through this left-hander. Under the kite, less than a kilometre remaining in the final stage of the Tour of Switzerland. Care to call it?
Well, I think Czernetski's been sitting there at the rear of this group, and I think he is the favourite to win this stage.
Well, here comes the jump from TJ Van Garderen. Izagirre is alive to that one, and Van Garderen has to tuck back in. I think maybe he was thinking about it, but didn't quite get there. Warren Barguil and Rui Costa are still trying to chase, but it's 5 riders that are going to contest this stage victory. That would appear to be the case. Czernetski still sitting at the back. How much energy has he been able to save? Jarlison Pantano has been working hard just in front of him. TJ Van Garderen from BMC is in the middle of the group. The overall race leader, Miguel Ángel López, is racing to glory. Can it be stage success as well? Izagirre has been doing most of the work. Will he have anything left for a finishing sprint? Seems unlikely at the moment. López is sitting second in line as we're inside the final few hundred meters. Czernetski's going to launch from the back. Pantano goes first. Will Czernetski be able to get around him? It's Pantano going for glory in Davos this afternoon. Jarlison Pantano with Czernetski behind him inside the final 50 meters. Here comes Czernetski around him. Will he get there in time? Oh, I don't think he's going to make it, because Jarlison Pantano has taken the final stage success in the Tour of Switzerland 2016, the win that he so dearly wanted. It's another great success for Colombia. It's a great success for Miguel Ángel López, because he's confirmed as the overall race winner. But what about that for a wonderful sprint success from Jarlison Pantano? Well, he can barely believe it.
What a fairy tale ending it was for Pantano there, taking the stage win, and well deserved. He rode a very good stage, and I tell you what, with Matthias Frank, and the congratulations from the two Colombians there, Lopez and Pantano. What a well-deserved victory, and it'll be really happy camp for the IAM riders.
Well, here comes Andrew Talansky, and it's been a disappointing day for him, because he's going to slip out of the podium position. A brave defence, but unfortunately just coming up a little bit short, and almost a minute between himself and the group up front, as Pantano continues to celebrate, and so much appreciation for him from the other riders in the race. One of the first over to congratulate him, Miguel Ángel López, not too far behind him. Warren Barguil, who raced so bravely to get back on terms, just couldn't quite make it. And Pantano is absolutely
He came here
ecstatic.
as a support rider for Matthias Frank. Matthias Frank climbed off. He stepped up, and he has really stepped up, and onto the world stage. We all knew he was a good rider. He just held off Czernetski. I thought Czernetski might have had the legs, but he left it too late. 25 metres to go. Never had the legs to come round. Pantano wins the final stage here in the Tour de
to close that one. Lopez racing solo to glory, racing down the hill to Davos clusters. He's got about 13 kilometres of descending, and then just over 4 kilometres of flat road through to the finish. And they hit a railway crossing with 4.4 kilometres to go, so let's hope the express train to Zurich isn't making its appearance at that stage, as we lose the picture, albeit briefly. The group behind now, are they going to be able to close just over half a minute gap to Miguel Ángel Talansky? Izagirre with an opportunity to move up into second place overall. There were 8 seconds between himself and Izagirre. 8 seconds down, Andrew Talansky starting the day from Miguel Ángel López. Izagirre 16 seconds back. Warren Barguil has just about managed to latch onto the back of the Talansky group. He's 18 seconds back. And then Pantano at 52. Kelderman is gone from this group, 1 minute and 21 seconds down. And there's the confirmation of the final mountains points of the year, with Miguel Ángel López taking the top points, as befits the man who is in the yellow jersey and has been climbing with such great ease over the last couple of days, particularly this afternoon in the rain, racing down to Davos. There's your yellow jersey, this one on underneath that rain jacket. I can tell you it is dry and it is sunny at the finish line in Davos, so at some stage they are going to emerge out of the mist. How much of this descent is going to be on dry roads? Doesn't look like much of it. Lopez.
Well, it depends if Lopez wants to take any risks, because it is a very tricky descent, especially the top third on this site now. So, but there seems to be a bit more of a general regroupment now. Talansky doesn't seem to be liking this descent. Ray Costa wants to obviously come across to this front group. Potentially, he is a fast enough sprinter that if it does come back together, there's a stage winner for grabs. But Lopez just has to be very aware. He can't take any risks in this on these corners, because if he slides out, he'll be caught by the chasing group.
So he's able to pick his own line around the corners. I suppose in another way, nobody's marking the road for him and picking out the lines for him. So he's got to be careful. He's also got to be committed. It's a confusing combination for Miguel Ángel López. He's racing to glory, and he's got a lot. He's got a lot to be hopeful for. He's got a lot to race for, hasn't he? 45 seconds back, so 15 seconds now between the Izagirre group and the group of Andrew